That has to be that way.
I gotta be so parasitic.
This is the first time I've ever been in on this lake. It's one of the lakes I identified on the map actually before I even bought the land two and a half years ago. Always wanted to get back here and give it a shot. No idea how deep it is, no idea what kind of fish, if any, are in it, but I do know that if there's fish in it, they have lots of bugs to eat. It is buggy and it's getting warm. And if it's a bass lake, which it looks like it is, and there should be bass in this area, largemouth and smallmouth, but this is looking like a largemouth and pike lake to me. And this heat should turn them on, hopefully. It's been a cold spring, the water's been cold, so hopefully this is the ticket. This is the day we've been waiting for to get into some good fishing action. But I said that before, so let's see what happens. Drove so far in, I can hear Highway 69 in the background. Here we go, first time ever on this lake. We're gonna see what's out here. It could go either way. There could be zero fish in this lake because it's too shallow and it freezes to the bottom, or it could be loaded because nobody fishes back in here. We're far back in. This is about, I would say, in southern Ontario, like south of, say, the French River. This is about as remote as you actually get in Ontario. It's right in the middle of absolutely nowhere. I don't know, it was half an hour, 45 minutes of logging roads to get back in here, and there's nothing, no evidence that anybody's been in here recently, so who knows? Could be one of those little secret lakes that I'm gonna be glad we found and explored and see what's out here. Like I said, could go either way, so let's get out there and see what's here. Last time I did this on that Algonquin fishing trip, flipped my canoe as I was loading up right in front of a couple of subscribers actually that I met out in the backcountry, and messed up my camera and couldn't use it for the rest of the trip, so let's see if I can do a little bit better this time. Alright, we're off. Exploration day. This is fun. I haven't done this in a while. Like even my trip earlier this year was in Algonquin. It was on a route that I know quite well. Been there, done that, and knew what to expect. This is brand new, and I haven't done an exploratory canoe trip like this in 2 or 3 years. So not a canoe trip, just a fishing day. Just out for the day. And then back to the cabin, hopefully to cook up some fish. So let's see. It's very bassy looking and shallow so far. One cast of fish. Well, I've only been out here for half an hour. I think we gambled and lost. Can't always tell this quickly, but when you're in a back lake like this that's fairly inaccessible, rarely accessed, and the habitat is as good as it looks here, we should be seeing fish and catching fish already, even if it's just small aggressive ones or something. But even just paddling along the shoreline, looking in the shallows to see what kind of forage there is here. There's tons of bullfrog tadpoles, but I'm not seeing any spawning beds from bass anywhere. There is a lot of minnows, and there's a fair number of small sunfish, but that doesn't mean necessarily that there's anything bigger than that. It surprises me because this seems to be on the river system, top end of the river system. So that looks like it's bass spawning bed, but can't say for sure, so it probably isn't. Anyway, I'm disappointed. I thought for sure paddling along the shallows in this perfect weed bed that I'd be seeing pike or small bass, small anything in shallow water. Sure, the big ones are probably in the deep water right now, like midday, sunny day like this, but it should be something. I should be seeing something in the shallows. I think it's a non-game fish lake for whatever reason. Or there's no bass and pike in here, and it is literally a pickerel lake or walleye lake, which means that probably not. You're not going to see young ones typically in the shallows like this during the heat of the day. So they could be in the deeper part of the lake and hiding out, and maybe it's great in the evening, late evening and night fishing here, but we're not going to be here at that time. So I would say it's a bust, and I experienced enough, I think, to make the decision that it's not worth even trying, that we should just get out of here and move on to another lake. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. No, this is like ideal pike habitat, at least. Like deep weed bed dropping off into even deeper water. Coontail weeds out in the center. A little reef that I snagged on the way trolling across the center of the lake. There's logs here. Like it's like classic bass and pike waters. No, pretty much convinced that there's nothing here. Well, fishing sucks, but at least it's a nice day and nice lake. Like, it's pretty. Listen to that pileated woodpecker, man. Is that ever loud?
Pretty deep though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's quite deep.
It's got to be a walleye lake then.
They're not gonna be hot right now, eh?
No. You might be able to jig them up, or where?
Right.
Well, very disappointing, but I think we're in agreement. This is a bust. I can't even understand. Well, you never know. For sure not a pike and bass lake. We'd be seeing evidence of the young ones, like I said, in the shallows. There's no evidence of even perch, actually. Just some stunted sunfish and some minnows. So there is life here, so it's not freezing to the bottom and killing everything. But the game fish are absent, and I'm thinking this does look or feel like you can see that it's a fairly deep lake. So pretty convinced that it's a walleye lake, which makes sense for the area. If you knew the area, you know that this is a pretty good spot for pickerel or walleye. And if that's the case, on a day like this, they're not going to be biting in the middle of the day. They're going to be buried right in the weeds in the center of the lake or in the deepest holes. So we're in agreement that it's pretty well fruitless to stay here. We've got still lots of day left to go and try a different lake, so better off to do that than waste our time here. So see you up on the next lake. All right, round two. We are back on the water. Different lake entirely, different area. Not too far away actually, but still different enough. And by all accounts, this is a better lake for fishing, so we're gonna quickly find that out, whether it's true or not. And I've heard good things about it. It's actually quite close to the cabin, somewhere that I can fish regularly if it works out. In fact, I'll try it again here anyway, even if we don't do well today. But yeah, excited, really excited about this one.
Might not be catching a release.
Oh, lost one right there too. Well, if you don't mind, I mean, do what you have to do for this thing, but if you end up with any help, So I'm not sure exactly what changed, but we're suddenly catching fish on almost every cast. So maybe it's the spot, maybe it's the change of lures, or time of day. It's hard to say, but
Could be all of them.
yep, all the above. But anyway, dinner. I am getting hungry. That's my first bass ever with a fly rod, actually. I don't know if I've even tried fishing for bass with a fly rod. So, not a huge, but it's an eater. It's dinner tonight. And probably the best one I caught today, actually. So, fun. That was awesome. Little guy, but there's several of them fighting actually for it. This is the one that finally got a hold of it. Oh. That's all I need now. Check it in the water. When do you get those glasses, Doug? very good actually. Well, tell me about your adventure.
It's cool down there.
Yeah? Just paddling into the sun here. It's late afternoon. It's almost evening. Still quite a ways from the cabin, and actually paddling further away from the cabin right now. This lake, very happy. Started off the day not impressed with the first little lake that we checked out, and then when we got to this lake, didn't catch anything for the first like 45 minutes. I was thinking, can't believe all the lakes closest to the cabin, closest to me, are not great fishing lakes. But then we started catching, and it's been non-stop. All of us catching lots of fish, so I'm very happy with that. And now you see that there's a river that leaves the end of this lake, and that means endless exploring. It means I can paddle. If this is what I think it is and where it goes, but I think it goes, then I could literally paddle for 3-4 days just down in this one direction before I'd have to turn back. So endless opportunity for fishing game and foraging and exploring, and all within a few miles of the cabin. Perfect. Nice little smallmouth. Not tiny by any means. I saw him actually, before I cast, I saw him surfacing at the head of the rapid. Yeah, coming up and feeding on some bugs that were on the surface. So he's going back in the water.
under me.
No, he's too nice.
Throw him back?
Sure.
Bloop.
Well, that was an awesome day. But we're literally burnt out. All three of us are just exhausted from heat exhaustion. Mainly probably dehydration. Tired from fighting so many fish. Literally we caught 20 or 30 fish each. And the day just started off so slow. I had a flat tire because we drove so far down this really rough logging road. Changed that tire, took a break, and then came back out and found this lake. So satisfying, but like I said, we're exhausted. I'm gonna head back to the cabin now, cook up that food, cook up the fish, probably the perch, probably the bass actually, and maybe the perch we'll have, or I'll have with my wife maybe tomorrow night. So glad I found this spot though, where I can start catching some small fish for food and start working more and more towards being able to live off the land as much as possible. Fish is a big part of it for sure. So, I'm gonna shut the camera off and get everything unloaded, and I'll see you back at the cabin in a bit. This one's not pretty sure. No? It's full of eggs. Very bad. Last year wasn't bad here at all.
It was in a cooler, but nothing to keep it cool.
Well, warm is not bad.
Yeah, it kind of smells, but I won't eat it.
Smell is not good.
No.
Is that good on that? Would that be any good?
This is celery salt, spices including red pepper, black pepper, and paprika. So Joe's eating the steak that he brought, and Doug and I are having the fish. We kept quite a few. I think what we'll do is, because we're out in the boat for quite a while and it was pretty warm today, I'm going to cook all of it up and then just eat it as leftovers instead of keeping it fresh and then cooking it from that point tomorrow or the following day. So I think that's the best thing to do. Just wanted to make one comment. Last Longhouse video, it did kind of silent, and it's kind of weird when you're with a bunch of guys and you're putting out a silent video. Obviously doesn't make sense. Of course, we're bantering and talking all the time, but a lot of it's inappropriate, or you're just somebody saying the wrong thing, and well, there's another conversation going on. So just wanted to explain that it's not intentional to do a silent video. It's just that I had to fix the audio for that reason. But anyway,
You're just feeling nostalgic to your childhood and those silent films.
Oh yeah. That's Doug. He's a lot older than me. He might remember those days. So anyway, we're gonna fry this stuff up. Ooh. And we're tired, exhausted. Like literally, we actually have been fairly silent because we're so tired. Crazy day. I mean, bass is good. Do whatever you want to do.
Well, either I'm going to watch you, or I'm going to stand here, or I'm going to do something. So
Let's get something.
I feel guilty if you're standing there doing everything. And if you say it's okay, then I'll just stand here and be happy.
I'll get some salt and pepper.
Okay. Spice rub.
There's actually like a little shaker part too.
Oh, shoot, that's right. Why did I take it out?
One of those.
Oh, it's a fancy one.
Yeah. Worth the extra.
Worth the bam.
So in the thing? Or
Yeah.
in the... Simmer down now, Sean James. Put the fishes in the ghee. Put the fishes in the ghee, or I'll put it. Nope, this frying pan is warped.
Need more heat.
is it when we get in there?
No.
Perfect.
Nice. Wow, that's incredible, eh? Well, I'm happy to find that the bark is coming off just as easily as it did a couple of weeks ago or whenever we were up here last. Not sure how long this is going to last though, probably. One thing I didn't know until I started doing more of this is that these trees put a ton of growth on in the spring and early summer, and then they pretty well stop growing. So even though it's still sunny and warm, all of August they virtually put zero growth on, or very little growth, most trees anyway. So when that stops, when the growth slows down, as it gets drier and hotter out, what'll happen is without less sap running up through the inner bark, it's going to start holding on tighter. It'll be harder to strip off. So this is why we're doing it now, even though we're not ready to install it for another few weeks when the rest of the guys come up. So we're seeing the stuff that's back at the longhouse, how we flattened it out. It wants badly to curl up as it's drying, so trying to find a flat enough spot to stack it and then get some weight on top of it so we can keep it as flat as possible while it dries until we get a chance to install it on the longhouse. Thinking after going through this process that the original builders of these shelters must have stripped the bark and installed it immediately. Although if that would have been, yeah, they must have done that before it got a chance to dry out. So if it dries in place, it's going to dry flat and probably get tighter with the bindings as it shrinks, dries and shrinks. Well, we're going to keep at it, but we're going to keep getting bark, but they're not going to subject you to watching this for another several hours do this. This is the last, hopefully the last time we're collecting bark this year. I think we pretty well have to, because like I said, I think the bark is going to start tightening up by the time we get a chance to get back here to cut some more trees down. Just as a reminder too about cutting trees down, if you missed that in previous episodes of this longhouse and me discussing cutting the ashes in the past, the ash trees are dying throughout North America, probably globally, because of the invasive species called the emerald ash borer. So these trees are suffering now. You can see that the tops of them are starting to die, and a lot of them already have completely died, especially south of here. So we're just using up a resource that's about to die anyway. I'll be cutting this stuff up into firewood over the summer and the fall, and then probably in the winter I'll sled it back to the cabin to use as firewood. Probably enough here for a year, I would say, of all my firewood needs. So that's good. And we're using the bark, which is good. All the branches we'll cut up and either, I'll pile them up for wildlife habitat for small animals to hide in, or I'll use it as kindling. So nothing's going to go to waste. Of course, the rest of it rots into the ground and provides nutrients to the forest. So it's a complete cycle. So as far as seeing us utilize that, if you haven't seen the Longhouse videos, I have a playlist called The Longhouse. If you want to click on the link in the description below, or just check out the playlist page and you can find those videos. We'll be continuing to work on that. A couple more episodes, I'd say, until we have it completely enclosed and interior finished, which is pretty neat the way we're going to finish the interior. So just keep an eye out for that. Lots going on, like I said, this summer. Interesting change inside the cabin, probably in my next video. So make sure you tune into that. So probably a Friday, or like a full week after you watch this video, or after this one goes public. And hopefully the bugs are dying down a bit, because I'm sure you can hear these buzzing in the camera and it's driving you crazy. Especially if you're listening, you're watching and using headphones. But it doesn't last forever. So we'll see. So that's it. Take care, and I will see you up at the cabin next time. Ash is heavy. You didn't know.